All right, welcome back. We're live. Jim Mora Jr., Uconn's head football coach here in the Duncan Music Lounge. Great place to have a show like this, and Coach is with us to kick off the season. Let's get into some of the specifics of who's out there now. You lost a lot of guys on defense, had a real good year defensively, and offensively ran the ball really well last year. We were talking about in the break there, passing attack. How important is it? Last year, Uconn's passing attack under 200 yards a game. How much does it matter? And how much do you feel like you got to improve that area if you want to be a better football team?
Well, we want to improve it, and it is an area of emphasis. We've got some guys that can catch a short one and turn it into a long one. Their run after catch ability is pretty special. So, we were talking about passing yardage. It's important, but, when does it come and why does it come is important. And if you can get a guy that can catch a 5-yard slant and take it 80 yards, it looks like this huge long bomb or something, and really it wasn't. It was just a guy that has ability getting the ball and making something happen. For us, it's really all about balance. We want to be a balanced football team, and that doesn't mean we're 50-50 run and pass or 50-50 run pass yardage. It means that if we're in a game where it demands that we run the football to win the game, that we have the ability to run the football and win the game. Or if we're in a game where we have to throw the ball over the yard to win it, that we have the ability to do that. And I feel like we are getting closer to where we need in that respect. I feel like we have a really good passing attack right now, but we do like to wear people out by running the football, and we've got 6 really good running backs as well. So, we're just going to search for balance, and at the end of the day, the most important thing is you win the game. However you win the game, you win the game. And so one thing we are looking for is more explosive plays on offense, though, whether it's, a quick pass that Mel Brown catches in the flat and turns into a long one, or if it's a deep one down the field to Shamar, or if it's Cam breaking one, it's those explosive plays that we're looking for.
The rushing attack, almost 200 yards a game. One thing I thought about.
Pretty balanced.
I know, it was great. But one thing I was thinking about, you were not trailing in a lot of games last year, so you didn't have to throw to get back into games. I think that might be part of the reason the passing yardage wasn't better.
This is what's interesting is Joe Fignano was, I think, the 11th most efficient quarterback in the country in passing efficiency. And I don't know how they calculate that stat, but maybe it was 11th, maybe it was 12th, 13th. I don't know. He was in the top 20, I know that. So to me, that's a good sign. And you're right. The situation in the game dictates how you play the game. Like I said, if we have to throw it to win a game, I feel like we can do that. And if we have to run it to win a game, I feel like we can do that. But I feel that, but we've got to go out and prove it.
Skylar Bell, he wears number 1. If you were to describe him to our audience who hadn't seen him close up, what would you say?
Twitchy. He's twitched up guy. He's got quickness, explosiveness. He's put on some weight. He's yoked up. His legs are bigger. He looks more. He looks faster. He looks more sturdy, I think, right now. He had a little of an injury for the last couple weeks, but he's back full speed now, so he'll be fresh-legged when we get to our first game. The other thing I would describe him as is committed. This is a guy that was offered almost $500,000 by Michigan to transfer and decided to come back to Uconn for not that much. And, that says something about him as a person, his commitment to this team. And so, you love those characteristics of a guy like that. He's a really good person who's a really good player.
Jim Mora is with us. I'm Mike Crispino. That's the one thing you've done, more than one thing, but you've done well here. And Dan Hurley's done it as well. Jim Penders in baseball. Been able to convince athletes in this world we live in today that maybe there's something else besides dollar signs that is important to a player's development or a man's development or an athlete's development. How do you go about doing that? How do you, obviously you got to be genuine, you got to mean it, but you got to be convincing too.
Well, it's getting harder. It's getting harder and harder. More and more players are moving for the sole reason of can they make more money somewhere else. I think it's not a moment where you convince them. It's a series of moments over the course of their time with you where they understand that you sincerely care about them and you love them and that you are there for them and their future, however that may be, and that you're willing to support them in the good times and the tough times. And that they see that you're committed to them, and that you put them in an environment where there's, good food, and they have great athletic trainers and a great medical staff that are going to take care of them, and they trust the strength and conditioning coach, and they trust their position coach has their best interest in mind, is going to do a great job of helping them develop into a really good football player. It's having a great facility they can come to and feel comfortable in. It's having good Wi-Fi, so they want to lay around, and so it's all those moments that lead to them coming to the decision that, yeah, you know what, I'm going to leave some money on the table because this is the best place for me. And this is where I can get what I need to be successful. And so at the end of the day, it's not easy, but you have something you can rely on that reinforces the things that you're telling them in that moment, like, we care about you. And it's not just words. They feel it. They've felt it for all the entire time they've been there. They felt it when you started recruiting them, and you said, this is how it's going to be when you get there. And that's why they came. And then it's that way while they're there. And then they want to stay. Not all of them want to stay. Some are motivated by money. And what you find is some of these guys that are motivated by money, they go to other places. They go, shoot, I wish I'd have stayed. This money's not worth it. They don't care about me here. I hear that a lot. I hear that from a lot of guys, yeah.
We talked to Shamar Porter, who wears number 5. He's a wide receiver who is a young guy, a sophomore. And we stood next to him after you do your little press thing after practice, and he came over. His size was kind of impressive, and I liked what he said. He talked about the things he can do better, that he started to do better in this camp. That was important to him, and I felt like, okay, here's a guy that understands what he's got to do better, and he's working at it, and he's actually seeing it come to fruition. That goes a long way in getting a guy motivated, I think.
One of the things I've said consistently since I've been here is that our team is not a team full of entitled kids. Our team is full of guys that want to work for it, and they value hard work. They don't feel like they deserve anything. They want to work for it. And Shamar's a great example, as is, in my opinion, almost every player on our team, is they don't take things for granted. They're not entitled. They don't act entitled, like, well, I'm supposed to get that, or I deserve that. They just work for it. And you can't even imagine how fun it is to coach a team of young men like that are hungry, that hang on every word you say. Yeah, they're going to ask why, but in this climate today, and with that generation, telling them why you're asking them to do something is important. But our guys don't ask, like, well, why are you making me doing this? Tell me why we're doing this. Okay, I get it. Oh, that can make me better. I always think it's the coach's responsibility to tell them why before they even ask. But we've got a bunch of guys that they just dig in and they work, and that is refreshing to be around.
Yeah, it goes a long way to building a great football team. Jim Mora with us. We'll be back. Quick break. The Uconn Football Coaches Show live at the Duncan Music Lounge.